Introducing a spelling test to a student by saying, "Let's see how many words you know," is different from saying, "Let's see how many words you know already." It is only one word, but the "already" suggests that any words the child knows are ahead of expectation, and most important, that there is nothing permanent about what is known and not known. An excerpt from Opening Minds Using Language to Change Lives. The author, Peter H. Johnston, grew up and taught elementary school in New Zealand before coming to the United States to earn a PhD at the Center for the Study of Reading at the University of Illinois. He is a professor of education and chair for the reading department at the University of Albany, SUNY, as well as the recipient for the Albert J. Harris Award for his contribution to the understanding of reading disability, and in 2005 he was inducted into the Reading Hall of Fame. Although his book, Opening Minds, published in 2012, is geared towards K-8 teachers, the ideas in the book can be generalized to secondary teachers as well as any individual who interacts with children. The 128-page book is an easy read, filled with humor and insights into our discourse with children and adolescents. The back of the book outlines that Johnston shows how the words teachers choose affect the worlds students inhabit in the classroom and ultimately their futures. He explains how to engage children with more productive talk and to create classrooms that support not only students' intellectual development, but their development as human beings. Words can shape students' understanding, their sense of self, and their social, emotional, and moral development. That is to say, words have the power to open minds or to close them. He stresses that educators have the choice between teaching through fixed performance or dynamic learning. In the fixed performance model, students are pushed to think of knowledge and intelligence as fixed, so they explain their inability in terms of features that cannot be changed. This means that they can't take up agency in the sense of making a difference for themselves, and they think that they have no control over their competence. In this view, facts are given to the student, and they are unchanged and not dependent on circumstances. The trouble with factual knowledge is that there is no reason to argue it or question it. Instead, uncertainty drives children to construct their own knowledge, and it gives them the power to resolve their uncertainty. This is a good place for conversation. On page 66, Johnston writes, "When people expect to disagree and to explain their position, have a reasonable tolerance for an expectation of uncertainty, understand the value of listening to others, particularly those who think differently, and work to produce symmetrical power relationships, then they are well prepared for a strong democracy." So we move towards a dynamic learning framework when we make it clear that things can change, and we turn attention towards the process or how things get done. So success in school is not determined by being smart, but by how you went about doing something that gave you this success. We can then ask a student, "How did you do that?" And they can use a narrative that can be made available to other students. Suddenly, we have more than one teacher in the classroom. This book serves as an excellent resource that I would recommend for all teachers. The impact of the words we use when speaking to our students seems to be a neglected area of our profession. Johnston also critiques how we categorize students by passing our own fixed mindsets onto our learners. Johnston quotes Albert Einstein on page 25, saying, "It is not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer." He covers a wide range of issues, from more skillful ways to work with motivating students to ways of developing social intelligence. Johnston does this in ways that hint at how he hopes others will teach. He gives examples that help lead us to developing more thoughtful approaches to how we speak with children. Additionally, he references our use of praise in the classroom. He points out how relying heavily on praise in order to boost self-esteem may be creating an arms race around what is real praise and what is faint praise, and ultimately keeps us in an externally motivated rewards and punishment system. Instead, he encourages us to take a real interest in our student work. By asking questions that bring out greater depth, the student learns that intellectual probing is important, and that you genuinely care. This avoids a dynamic that leads to the student looking for praise. The work itself becomes the reward. In retrospect, this makes obvious sense. In a way, praise can be an easy shortcut, while really paying attention and putting yourself in the student's frame of mind takes more work and effort.